The abatement process.
Abatement is a legal term that refers to the reduction, elimination, or cessation of a problem or nuisance. In a legal context, abatement is often used to refer to the process of removing or reducing a hazard or danger that is posing a threat to public health or safety.
The abatement process typically involves several steps. Site inspection. A site inspection is conducted to identify the presence, type, and extent of asbestos-containing materials, ACMs, in the building or structure. The inspection is typically carried out by a qualified asbestos inspector and may involve taking samples for laboratory analysis. Planning. A plan is developed for the safe removal or encapsulation of the ACMs. The plan includes a detailed description of the work to be carried out, including the scope of work, the methods and equipment to be used, and the procedures for worker protection and waste disposal. Preparation. The work area is prepared to minimize the release of asbestos fibers. This may involve setting up containment barriers, sealing off ventilation systems, and installing negative air pressure units to ensure that any fibers that are released are contained within the work area. Removal. The ACMs are removed using specialized equipment and techniques designed to minimize the release of asbestos fibers. The removal is typically carried out by trained and qualified professionals who follow strict safety procedures to protect themselves and others from exposure to asbestos fibers. Cleaning. After the ACMs have been removed, the work area is thoroughly cleaned using HEPA vacuums and other specialized cleaning equipment to remove any remaining asbestos fibers. Wet cleaning, abrasive cleaning, and air testing may also be carried out to ensure that all fibers have been removed. Final inspection. A final inspection is carried out to ensure that all ACMs have been properly removed or encapsulated, and that the area is safe for reoccupancy. The inspection may involve visual inspection and testing to confirm that all ACMs have been properly removed. Let's look at the first step, site inspection, in more detail. In the site inspection, a qualified inspector will perform a thorough inspection of the building or site to identify any materials that may contain asbestos. This includes visually inspecting all accessible areas of the building or site. This may also involve taking samples of suspected asbestos-containing materials, ACMs, for laboratory analysis. Taking samples. The first step is to identify where potential issues may arise. Once a potential ACM has been identified, a small sample of the material is carefully removed. The area around the material should be thoroughly wetted to prevent the release of asbestos fibers during the removal process. The material is then placed in a leak-tight container or bag, labeled with appropriate warning labels, and sealed. The samples are typically double-bagged in clearly labeled plastic bags that meet certain regulatory requirements. This ensures that any fibers that may be released during transport are contained. The samples are then sent to an accredited laboratory that specializes in asbestos testing. It's important to choose a reputable lab with the appropriate certifications and accreditations to ensure accurate results. The lab will analyze the samples using polarized light microscopy, PLM, or transmission electron microscopy, TEM, to determine if asbestos fibers are present. If the sample contains asbestos, the lab will also identify the type and quantity of asbestos fibers present. Once the lab testing is complete, a report will be issued with the results. If asbestos is found, the report will include recommendations for proper management, removal, or encapsulation of the ACM.
Planning. Before any work can begin, a plan must be developed to ensure that the asbestos abatement is carried out safely and in compliance with applicable laws and regulations. Failure to do so can result in penalties and fines. The plan should outline the scope of the work, the procedures to be followed, and the tools and personal protective equipment, PPE, that will be used. Preparation. The preparation phase of asbestos abatement is a crucial step in ensuring the safe and effective removal of asbestos-containing materials. The area where the asbestos abatement will take place must be prepared to prevent the spread of asbestos fibers. This may involve sealing off the area with plastic sheeting. This can also involve creating negative air pressure to prevent fibers from escaping into other parts of the building. Removal. The asbestos-containing materials are removed using specialized equipment and techniques designed to minimize the release of asbestos fibers. Soapy water is used as a wetting agent during the abatement process. It is sprayed onto asbestos-containing surfaces to keep the fibers from becoming airborne. Rather than using techniques that may create excessive dust and fiber release, controlled demolition involves strategies like carefully dismantling, cutting, or disassembling ACMs to minimize the generation of airborne fibers. This controlled approach helps prevent the spread of asbestos throughout the work area. HEPA, high-efficiency particulate air, vacuums are specialized vacuum cleaners equipped with HEPA filters that can effectively capture microscopic asbestos fibers. These vacuums are used to clean surfaces, including floors, walls, and equipment, after asbestos removal activities. Enclosures are physical barriers constructed around the work area to isolate it from the rest of the building or surrounding spaces. In the removal phase, any asbestos-containing materials are placed in clear plastic bags which have a minimum thickness of 6 mm. They are also clearly labeled. Cleaning. After the ACMs have been removed, the area is thoroughly cleaned using HEPA vacuums and other specialized cleaning equipment to remove any remaining asbestos fibers. It is crucial to emphasize that brooms must never be utilized during asbestos work, as they pose a risk of agitating asbestos fibers and causing them to become airborne. Both sealing and encapsulation are considered asbestos management techniques, aiming to control the release of asbestos fibers and minimize the risk of exposure. These methods are typically employed in situations where complete removal of ACMs is not immediately necessary or practical. The surfaces to be sealed or encapsulated must be thoroughly cleaned and free from dust, debris, and loose asbestos fibers. This ensures proper adhesion of the sealant or encapsulant and enhances its effectiveness. The sealant or encapsulant should be applied to cover the entire surface of the asbestos-containing material. All edges, joints, seams, and areas prone to fiber release should be adequately coated to create a continuous and uninterrupted barrier. The sealant or encapsulant needs sufficient time to cure and form a durable barrier. The curing time may vary depending on the specific product used and environmental conditions. After the sealing or encapsulation process, a thorough inspection should be conducted to verify the effectiveness and quality of the applied material. The inspection should include checking for any missed areas, gaps, or signs of damage. Final inspection. A final inspection is carried out to ensure that all asbestos-containing materials have been removed, and the area is safe for the continuation of work. Record keeping. Record keeping. Detailed records must be kept of the asbestos abatement process, including the work performed, the materials removed, and the disposal methods used. Thank you. You may now complete the questions that follow.